Hello, everybody. This is Reverse Synth. I just wanted to pop in real quick before the video starts and say that this is an unedited discussion with me and my friend here. So there's going to be a lot of like pauses, not too many, but there's going to be some pauses. There's going to be some ums and uhs and stuff like that, and it's going to be a very unpolished video. But we do make some good points. We try to stay concise and stuff like that. But yeah, there is points where it gets a little kind of like rambly or whatever, and that's just how it is. It's unedited. All right, so just gonna give you a quick warning before you get in the video and you start commenting about how like, oh, you did this, left this in, whatever. Because I just if you don't like that kind of stuff, click off the video, okay? But anyways, let's get right into it. Hello, everybody. This is Reverse Synth. Thanks for tuning in. I'm here with my friend Echo Doing Things. If you remember, I told you he passed away during my Halo Smasher Pass that I did. He died, but now he's back. He got resurrected. He's in witness protection now, so don't go looking for him. You won't find him. But yeah, anyways, last year, the two of us did a video about Halo Reach. It was called "The Problem with Halo Reach," I believe it was, the issue with Halo Reach. And a lot of my audience, like newer audience, might not know about that, but it's a really cool video. It's about an hour long. We did kind of like an unedited discussion about our issues with Halo Reach and kind of fundamental issues with it. And it's really cool, and I suggest you check the video out after you check this one out because I think it's kind of essential to watch this one. In my opinion, we don't have to watch it, but I think it's a great video. It's my favorite video I've ever done. I think it's a great one, and I think you should definitely check it out if you're interested in these topics. But anyways, I'm gonna start. I'm gonna let Echo Doing Things start. He has some points about Halo Reach, certain kind of general points about Halo Reach and stuff like that before we get into the kind of meatier topics of the video, which will be about Noble Six, of course. But I'll let him kind of start off, and we'll see how this goes.
All right, so starting off from our previous video, I just wanted to address some points, some things that we kind of left off on. Uh, Mainly, I wanted to bring up one of the issues that we brought up with the characters not having enough backstory, not having enough information, and that is because uh, not a lot of people know this, or at least I don't know if it's widely advertised. I don't know if it's widely known, but there are actually a bunch of unused voice lines for the Noble team. Like we were talking about earlier, how we never really get to know about these characters. We never really hear from them. We never really learn their backstory from their characters. All we know comes directly from like little lore stories, little lore additions that Bungie made on a Halo Waypoint way after the game came out. But there are a bunch of these unused voice lines that can be found in the files of Halo Reach that can be that they just really bring out the character, which is why it really infuriates me how um, underused these characters are. Because in the video, we talked about how these characters are. Well, we in the video we call them stereotypes, but they're actually just caricatures. They're just caricatures of
Yeah.
generic military people. There's
Well,
the sassy smart chick. There's the edgy knife guy. There's the heavy machine gunner. There's the cold sniper.
yeah.
There's the
It's
tactical leader.
basically like it's basically like every stereotype. If you watch a war movie like Saving Private Ryan, or even like war adjacent movies like Predator or Alien, where they have like Marines in there, like there's always those same stereotypes. And I know that Halo in general has a lot of stereotypes, especially like they take a lot from like Alien. The first game does. It takes a lot from like the movie Alien and Aliens or whatever, or Predator as well. But like Reach is literally like every single military movie stereotype is in there. Do you know what I mean? It's like when you notice it, you can never not notice it. And when you watch other like military movies or war movies or whatever, you can notice all these fucking stereotypes that are, you know what I mean, that are the noble team basically. And it's really absurd.
Yeah, yeah. So in the game, in the files, basically there. I mean, like I said earlier, there are just files that directly bring out the characters in these uh, in the game. And I don't know. how a lot of these files were intended to be used. Maybe you could just be heard if you stare at the characters long enough, or it could just be like just cut dialogue that you would just hear the characters talking about in the background, shit like that. But one of the biggest ones that really brings out the character that I hate the most, like this one bit of dialogue, literally turned Emil, who is my least favorite character in Halo Reach, into one of my favorites. And it's literally like a 2-sentence dialogue about how when he was a kid, his brother sacrificed himself so he could get aboard like one of the last ships to escape the planet. And that, like, so his brother died so he could live. So now he fights the Covenant in the name of his brother. And that's why he wants them to suffer as much as his brother did. Which is why he's so fucking edgy. Which is why he carries around this big ass knife. And I think that's amazing. That is an amazing use of character. But we don't see that.
Exactly.
Now, one might say that, oh, that's not canon. But it actually is, because apparently it's literally how the fucking... It's literally the basic same information that they added in another story, where his brother sacrificed himself to save him. They just didn't add it to the game, even though they have it already recorded. And that just really pissed me off. There's a ton of other files like that. There's a ton of other voice lines like that, apparently for June, Kat, Carter, and George, from what I heard, from what I've been told. But I haven't listened to them directly, except for the Emil one. But that's just that's one of the big things I want to address. That's like probably the biggest thing I want to address, because that's one of my biggest issues with the game, is the lack of character development, or the lack of showing these characters. And just adding those simple voice lines would have fixed that.
I think that's great. And the segue into what we want to talk about today, because that was basically just added on to the previous video, kind of stuff that we didn't discuss in the previous video. We'll have a couple more points, general points about Reach we'll talk about like later in the video, but the general point of this video was to kind of talk about Noble Six and the character Noble Six. And what kind of spurred this idea for me was many months ago, I was browsing the Halo subreddit, our Halo, and there was this girl who had posted, she was a cosplayer, and she had posted this post. I can't find it right now. It's lost in the shuffle. I wish I would have saved it, but it was a female cosplayer who was cosplaying as Noble Six, her Noble Six, and she had, her the cannon, the armor from the game, and certain armor on, and obviously she's a chick, and she's like purple, like a certain color, and that was her canon Noble Six. And in the comments of the post, like, she clarified that that's what she believes is her canon Noble Six, like her armor, whatever she had on, like that's her Noble Six, that's who Noble Six is in the canon. But of course, there's all these commenters, and this could be, the incidental of it being on Reddit, because, Redditors are a certain way, and also the incel epidemic and all that kind of bullshit that's going on right now in the world. But all the commenters below, there wasn't a lot of positive commenters that were like, oh, nice cosplay, nice, whatever, that's cool. No, a lot of the people were just complaining about how Noble Six, they're like, actually, Noble Six is not a girl. Noble Six is a guy. And Noble Six armor is like this, and his color is this, and his voice is this, and it doesn't matter what you think canonically what Noble Six is. That's not the thing. Canonically, Noble Six is this character. And my issue with that is, it's just like, what's the point of Noble Six? For example, like, Noble Six is a blank slate. That's the whole point of Noble Six, is a blank slate. Noble Six isn't a character. Noble Six isn't like Master Chief. Master Chief was a blank slate at one point, technically, and Master Chief still is a blank slate, technically, in terms of the fact that you could picture your face on Master Chief, because Master Chief doesn't have a face, he's just an armor, but canonically, Master Chief is a character with a backstory, an extensive backstory. He has many games about him, he has a certain voice, he has a certain armor, he's obviously a guy, like, it isn't like a Samus Aran situation, like, this is like, that's who Master Chief is. But Noble Six is the opposite. Noble Six is supposed to be a blank slate, an actual blank slate. In the game itself, in the campaign, you get to be a girl, you can be whatever color, you can be fucking purple or pink or whatever, you can put on whatever armor you want, and it's showcased in the game. and it's mechanically like that's supposed to be what Noble Six is. Noble Six is who whatever you make it. It's a blank slate character like in any RPG. Like if you play Skyrim, and that's basically what Noble Six is. It's like an RPG blank slate character. That's the point of him, and that's why Noble Six doesn't have a lot of like canon, or at least at that time, and it's very uninteresting in the game and stuff like that, because Noble Six is supposed to be this blank slate character. That's why Noble Six is so uninteresting in the game, and why all this kind of stuff is going on. However, Bungie, and of course future 343 eventually, gave Noble Six this whole backstory and made him this whole canonically character. He's on par with Master Chief skill wise, and he's incredibly dangerous, and he's a man obviously, and he has a certain armor set he wears, and he has a certain voice he has, and a certain backstory, and all this kind of stuff. And basically the whole point of Halo Reach having Noble Six be a blank slate and having him have no like definitive backstory, definitive personality, doesn't make any sense. It's all null and void, because he's canon anyways. Like he has a canon everything, and that's kind of a big issue I have with it, because what's the fucking point? Like, why give us the ability to make this character whatever we want it? Make him a girl, give this character whatever armor we want, give him whatever color we want, and then go back and make it like a canon character. So our choices don't really matter, right? So when you're playing Halo Reach now and you have your armor, like your armor, your color, whatever, your gender, that doesn't fucking matter in the game, because that's not what Noble Six is. So what's the point of even having that? Why not just make Noble Six an actual full-blown character with a real personality and stuff like that? Like what was the point of making this character and making this game in the first place? It makes no sense to me at all. And if you're gonna make him canon, why can't it be like a guy and a girl? For example, my big thing too was like, when we talked about or thought about this, was in other games, which obviously is different because there's more personality to these characters. But in Mass Effect, for example, with Commander Shepard, or Cyberpunk with V, both you can be a guy and a girl, and a guy or a girl, my bad, and the characters, the Commander Shepard and V, whether you're a guy or a girl, those characters, both genders are canon, right? And those are actual characters. They're not like Noble Six. They actually have personalities and stuff like that. But those characters are still canon characters. There's not a canon Commander Shepard gender. It's not a canon V gender. It's whatever you as a player want to believe. If you think V is a girl or a guy, that's your prerogative, and you can think that. And the developers of both games have never said otherwise. Basically, they let you believe how you believe. But Noble Six is definitively a guy. So like when you make it a girl, it's not. Noble Six isn't a girl. So that's why there's all these comments on our Halo that were about like, actually, Noble Six isn't a girl no matter what you believe, and all this kind of stuff. And it's just like bullshit. I don't understand it. Like, what's the point? And just before I stop yapping here and give it off to Echo doing things, I also want to say I said just a thing real quick. It's like if Todd Howard came out and said, so the Dragonborn is actually canonically a fucking Khajiit traitor. You know what I mean? Like, basically, no, like it'd be like that. Basically, like Todd Howard's like, yeah, you made your character this in Skyrim, but no, your character's actually this specific race in the lore, and this specific personality, and this specific job or whatever. It'd be like that basically. It just doesn't make any sense, and it's stupid, and their entire point of Reach is ruined. Basically, there's no point in Reach. The story, there's no point in Noble Six. No point in Reach. It doesn't make any sense if all this stuff that came out about it. That's my opinion, and I'm gonna hand it off to Echo doing things real quick and see if he has some things to add on, or if he wants to say some other stuff real quick.
Well, that brings up the actual what is the point of Reach, which I think is a very interesting question, because Reach itself, well, when Reach was introduced as the game, we kind of all thought it was going to be like a recreation of how it was in the books, or how it would be.
Yeah, all of Reach.
Yeah, or how it would be, or like showing it from like a different perspective, which you thought would have been really cool, but it wasn't. So it was kind of this whole other thing where it introduced this whole other group of characters and this whole other, basically a completely different scenario. A completely different scenario than what we actually saw take place in the books. Now, obviously,
a brand new game.
Now, obviously, there are a lot of people that will always tell you the games take precedence over the books. So Halo Reach will always be canon, and like the Fall of Reach and Halo First Strike and shit like that are all null and void. They don't exist anymore. Shit like that. But I've had this idea floating around in my head a while. Well, not a while. Like I kind of thought about it, and it just kind of stuck with me. And that's, uh, I believe Halo Reach is meant to be a depiction of how the UNSC shows how Reach fell. So in the book,
And I think that, not to interrupt you real quick, I think that was, if I know that you just came up with this, but I'm pretty sure that was a theory that was floating around for a couple years. People that don't like Reach, that they thought they believe what you're about to say, the point, but I think it was a theory. I'm not sure. I remember hearing about it, but maybe I'm just wrong, and this is a totally original thing that you came up with. But I just want to get in front of it before someone in the comments goes, "Well, actually, I'm the one who came up with this theory, and you're just copying me." You know what I mean? So let's just
I have
quickly.
not heard anybody talk about this theory, but I did hear other.
I'm just getting ahead of myself because
No,
these
I know.
commenters, you know how they be with me, especially them fucking Warhammer fans. Fuck you guys. Anyways, let's
I heard.
go ahead.
I brought this idea up to certain people. My opinions on Reach are not very popular in the friend groups I hang out with. And when it comes to Halo, like I'm the only one that that openly does not like Reach. And when I addressed this theory, a lot of it
Can you
got.
believe he has?
Uh,
Can you believe that he has other friends than just me, the famous YouTuber Reverse Synth?
yes, some of us have a life. Anyway, uh, yeah, yeah. Basically, I've already said it. Halo Reach is how the UNSC depicts how Reach fell, because specifically the Fall of Reach, Halo Reach, Reach itself basically fell in like 12 hours. Like the Covenant arrived, and we see it in a game. We see it in game when after George blows up the Long Night of Solace. But basically, in the books, the Covenant arrive with so many ships that they completely outnumber, outgun, and easily overwhelm every single bit of defense Reach has. Now, Reach is supposed to be the basically like the big place. You know, it's like the Fort Knox of Halo. It's like it's like Washington D.C. It's like you can't get near it, you can't get close to it. It's so well defended that even if you try to attack it, you're gonna die. You know that was the
Well, unless the
general.
president sends, unless the president sends his people after the Capitol. But yeah,
Yeah.
anyways.
Anyway, um, basically all these defenses, they thought the UNSC thought Reach was impenetrable, or at least if Reach was attacked, they would at the very least be able to put up a good enough fight to either make the Covenant retreat, defeat the Covenant, or at the very least give the planet enough time to evacuate while they hold off the Covenant. But what actually happened was so many, like over 300 ships. I think there was like 320, like 340 ships, Covenant ships
Yeah.
appeared above Reach, like, and these aren't like fucking 320 Phantoms or shit. This is like carriers, destroyers, everything. So the
Yeah.
UNSC completely wiped out, and in only like 12 hours, a majority of the UNSC fleets and its defenses, including a majority of the Spartan 2s on the ground, had all been wiped out. And
Yeah.
only like 24, 36 hours later, the entire planet, or at least almost the entire planet, was glassed or being glassed. So literally, Reach was attacked on August 30th, and it fell on August 31st or some shit.
Yeah.
So it was a massacre. It was just a brutal massacre. But in the game, obviously, we are first encountered Covenant at a relay station in like June, and like I think it's like mid to late June, and Reach itself doesn't actually fall until the same time as the book in August.
Well, that was an issue too. Just to interrupt you real quick. That was something I wrote down too, and the big issue with Reach as well is that, and what makes it feel so disjointed playing it and so weird is that they try to do. It's not like so in the other Halo games, Halo 1, 2, 3, whatever. Yes, it's different points technically. There's different days. It doesn't all take place in one night like ODST does or whatever. But at the same time, like it's a narrative, a structured narrative. Like Halo 1, you're following Master Chief. He goes through basically point A to point B, and it's whatever. In Halo Reach, it's the first Halo game and the only Halo game actually that is literally just like it's almost like a series of episodic things that happen. It isn't like a narrative that goes point A to point B. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's almost like different missions on different days, which is what they're trying to do. Basically like kind of like push the passing of time, I guess, in the game. Like, oh, actually, this mission takes place on this day. This mission takes place months later.
There's
That.
Some missions in Reach that are like days, weeks, and days, even weeks apart from each other, which is insane.
Yeah, and we don't see that in the game. And in the game, it feels so disjointed because it literally feels like a big time skip, and no character development happens between those little areas. There's no in between. Like in Halo 1, you see everything. You follow Master Chief through all these different areas. Halo 2, you follow, everything jumps around, but you follow. It's like a distinct narrative that goes around. With Reach, is again, it feels like an episodic show basically, where it's just different. Each mission's like a different episode of the show, but there's no development. We don't see any development in between and all that kind of stuff. That's why it just feels so weird and just not like developed properly, just because there's no clear narrative. I guess you could say not a structured narrative. If that makes any sense, it just doesn't work very well.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah, because like you just said, in the original Halo games, it seems that a lot of people have forgotten. In the first 3 Halo games, they literally take place in like the course of 2 months. But in Halo Reach, you spend that exact same amount of time fighting on Reach. Now, like I said earlier, I think that is why Halo Reach itself is supposed to be obviously it's not what the writers fully intended. Like it's not actually what it's supposed to be, but that's just how I'm going to be interpreting it from now on. That Halo Reach is how the UNSC is depicting how that Reach fell post-war, because
it's only propaganda.
Yes, exactly. Because they don't want to say, hey, not only did we lose our biggest military base in the entire galaxy with everybody on it, it was completely wiped out without any effort at all, and we're completely screwed. So instead, we're going to show this huge battle that spanned months of fighting across the whole planet, and we're going to show you like the helmet footage, or like the footage, like the totally not doctored helmet cam footage of a Spartan, of an unnamed Spartan, following this team of other Spartans.
It's like Mysterio from Spider-Man, basically. Just like smoke and mirrors.
Exactly, all smoke and mirrors.
Propaganda.
And I mean, I don't know what else to say. Like, I kind of the whole premise kind of speaks for itself. Halo Reach,
and it makes a lot of sense because it makes, not to interrupt you again, but it makes a lot of sense to your point about Halo Reach, the campaign, and what we see being actually, UNSC owning propaganda or whatever for the war, because it makes sense. They're trying to, keep morale up because they've lost Reach, and now they have, their Covenant's going to invade Earth. If you go up to the original OG trilogy, invade Earth, and they got all these Halo rings and shit, and all this shit going on, and they want to, and there's got a lot of loss of life, so they're trying to keep, morale up. It makes sense to make up this huge story and be like, well, actually, this happened, and that happened, and, whatever, because it just makes a lot of sense. And having Noble Six be a blank slate and all the characters be like stereotypes, like the Noble team, makes sense because that's like, you know, it's propaganda. Basically, that's why it's so like doesn't make any sense and is very very nonsensical to the actual lore of Halo, because it's just basically we're being told some bullshit. It's just a bullshit story some person wrote up to increase morale, you know, keep morale up in the war.
Yes, exactly.
I agree.
Exactly, because
I did.
well, apparently the UNSC didn't even reveal that Reach itself was lost until after the war ended, which again really helps drive home this point. And apparently they didn't even like fully come out and say Reach was glassed for a little while. Like they first come out, they first started out by going, "Oh, we lost contact with Reach around this time. We sent ships to investigate, and we haven't heard back." At least that's what I've been told. That's what I've been told by other people. I don't really follow, honestly. I don't honestly follow the Waypoint articles like other people do. I know there are people that are obsessed with those. Mainly, I just stick to the books. Even then, I haven't actually read any of the new books in a very long time. But yeah, that's just basically.
Well, the issue. I mean, this is a general issue with Halo. I think. I mean, this goes beyond Reach. This is a general issue with Halo now, like current Halo, is that a lot of like things structured that should be in the games are either located in books, or they're in like Waypoint articles or terminals. They're not actually in the game when they should be. Like all this like lore and stuff when it comes to Reach, even like, you know, Halo Infinite and Halo 5 and all the stuff that happens in between those games, and all these plot structures is all, you know, in Waypoint articles and stuff like that and books. And I don't know, I kind of miss having just everything be in the game. I like Halo. Obviously like the books. I like Fall Reach. I like the lore. I'm into the lore a lot, but I play the games, and if it's gonna happen, I want it to happen in the game. You know, like I don't want to have to go look at a book. Like apparently, this is totally off point, but it's still in structured Halo. Apparently, did you hear about this? They have a book that's coming out. Maybe it's already out. That basically tells the story about what happens after Halo Infinite, basically, because they're not going to do a sequel to Halo Infinite. So they're doing a book to wrap it up.
No, I didn't hear that.
Like, isn't that ridiculous?
That is ridiculous.
Like all the endless bullshit, and all that kind of, they're gonna basically just gonna put it in a book and wrap it up in there, and it's like, why?
Like, what even?
Like, no one even. I mean,
point?
there's people that like the lore and stuff like that and whatever, but like the general audiences don't read the books or know the extended lore. They play the game, so you kind of have to have it in the game. It's just how Halo is now, and it's kind of just, I don't know. It's just that's another video for another day. If you want to look, you can go watch my video, Halo is Dead, if you want to see my opinion about the state of current Halo, because I made that video actually over a year ago, and it hasn't gotten better, if you can believe it. So we'll see. Maybe next year, maybe it'll get better, but you never know. I do want to bring up a point real quick. This is something that I had in my notes for the last video we did on Halo Reach, and I didn't bring it up. I don't think we brought it up in the video, but I wanted to bring it up anyway. I thought it was important just to wrap this up kind of and say it. Another issue I have with Reach in general, the campaign, is that when people talk about Reach, right, they kind of talk about it like it's, you know, like Band of Brothers or whatever, or Saving Private Ryan, like one of those like big kind of like emotional war movies where you love all these characters and stuff, and they die in front of you, and there's all this turmoil and everything sucks, and you know the whole point of Reach, basically the writers had, but they wanted to showcase, like, you know, all this suffering, and Reach fell and all this kind of stuff. But I feel like they missed an opportunity, because if you play Reach, it's a big point that you don't really see a lot of the human suffering side of it, like the civilians and the Marines that aren't the Spartans suffering, like in the game. It's mostly just focused on Noble Team and them dying, and it's supposed to be emotional, all these Noble Team members dying or whatever. But I feel like Reach would have been more powerful if they focused on like the human side of Reach, and like the, you know, how it collapsed. Like literally a whole planet collapsed, and all these people died. It was like insane, right?
Yeah.
And there's all these, like, the human side of it, getting killed and tortured. Millions of people, a whole fucking planet. And, you know, there's all these Marines, too, that aren't super soldiers like the Spartans are. And, you know, there's all these, like, civilians that are getting wrecked all the time. But they don't, for a game like Reach that's supposed to focus on all the suffering and about Halo, and it's supposed to be like this war. Like the other Halo games are kind of more bright, and they got war in it too. But the original trilogy is a lot more bright and kind of bubbly and funny. Reach is supposed to be this sad kind of war movie, Band of Brothers, Saving Private Ryan type of spiel. But you don't see any of the actual human suffering in the game. Rarely. I feel like it'd be more powerful if we saw that, from a civilian's point of view, a couple things. We just don't really see that in the game very much. Like I think we should. I just think it's a missed opportunity to have that in the game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. I feel like they did really miss that that thing. I think like ODST actually does a better job at like kind of sparsing that out and making you kind of see the suffering of whatever. Actually, I also think that Halo Infinite does a good job. That's one thing I would give to Halo Infinite. They give a good job at making like, showcasing kind of the Marine side of it too, and how the Marines suffered, not just because they're not super soldiers like you are, right? These regular ass Marines, but they suffered this huge loss, and they still have morale from seeing Chief and stuff like that, and it's kind of a positive vibe, and they show that a lot in that game, and in ODST as well. They show kind of like the more like weaker side of the Force. Then I know ODSTs aren't like standard Marines, but you know what I mean. Yeah. They're weaker than the Spartans are, and it's really cool. And you get to play from that see it from that perspective, play from that perspective. But yeah, Reach, for as much everyone builds it up as this big, super dark game. It's so dark and edgy, and all this death and destruction and turmoil and civilians getting killed in mass and glassing and torture and all this stuff. But in general, it's not really like that if you actually play it. It's kind of like the surface level of what you can get from a dark Halo game.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't even measure up to Call of Duty, honestly. The OG called like Modern Warfare games. The OG Modern those games, those are good stuff.
I literally
that's like
I literally went through fucking the OG CODs a couple months ago, and I was kind of shocked by how much stuff I didn't pick up on beforehand, like how much just general civilian massacre and overall just chaos of war is in those games. And I think those depict that a lot better than Halo Reach does. Funny enough, there's actually a map in Halo Reach that is set on Tribute, which from what I understand is another planet within the Halo, within the Reach system. Same system, different planet. That's also very well colonized, and we can actually see in the background of that multiplayer map, we could see a civilian, an evacuation area. Like, we see ships evacuating. Yeah. We see gunfire across. We see like this entire massive city just like burning, and there are Covenant ships all around it. You can obviously they're all flat textures. You can't really like see. They're not like 3D ships, but you can see like swarms of fighters flying around. You can see buildings getting blown up. You can see like buildings getting shot. You can see civilian evacuation transports getting shot down. You can see like anti-aircraft fired. And it's just like, it just looks like total war and total chaos. And yet we barely got that. And that's in the background of a multiplayer map.
Well, that was the thing too, is like there's that one mission in Halo Reach where the civilian like evac thing explodes and gets blown up, and it's supposed to be this emotional moment, but I feel like doesn't hit the same way because it really wasn't like the focus of the mission, to be honest with you. Like, I know the civilian evac stuff was technically the focus, like on the general mission. Like, I know that around you is happening, people are talking about it, like in all the dialogue, like in your head and stuff,
but you don't really see it.
We're getting civilians out and whatever. But you don't really see it. I feel like it'd be more emotional if you had if there's a whole mission dedicated to evacuating these people, like get out of here, bringing them out of their buildings and stuff, and helping them out and saving these people, saving like kids and stuff like that. Like, come on, let's go, parents and children, and then getting them on the evac thing and watching it blow up.
Exactly.
Like in front of you. that would have hit much more different. Like in the game, you're not really doing this happening around you, but that's not your focus. That's not your mission. Your mission is just to kind of help clear some stuff. And you're in the Falcon and you see the thing get exploded, the civilian evac. But it's supposed to be this emotional moment, but it doesn't hit the same way because you don't really see that happening in front of you. Like it'd be really cool. Like yeah, like I said, where you can go out, you do a whole mission dedicated to civilian evac. You meet all these people, give some of these guys some personalities, maybe meet
you
and
would
have
see
like
like
some
people
dialogue.
staring up at you because you're this like massive like 6'7", 6'8". You're this giant Spartan 3 in this armor. You could be
And
like
they
waving
and
through
they put all
crowds of
their
people that are all waiting to board
yeah.
these civilian evacuation places.
And you can talk to people, maybe meet some people as well, like in the game, like and listen to these people holding their little babies and stuff, have their kids next to them, being like,
Yeah, you
you
could hear
know,
babies crying in the
like just looking
background,
at
shit
you,
like that.
yeah, yeah, and be like, yeah, you know, you're all, and the people being like, you're our only hope and stuff like that, yelling at you, being like, we need your help, and see just the sadness of these people trying to evac, and then see them all getting the evac thing in front of you, and then they it blows up, it gets
Instantly
destroyed.
gets wiped
That'd
out.
be so much more emotional. Yeah, it would be so much more emotional to see that happen in the game than what we actually got. I think that what we got it was just stupid. It was like they're trying to do that, but they just didn't want to do it like fully commit, and that's why it just feels like nothing really. It's just kind of like
Yeah,
whatever.
like you don't like my first few times playing Reach when I was a kid, I didn't even realize that was like a civilian evacuation ship that got blown out of the sky. I
Yeah,
thought it was just like a ship trying to leave. Like it doesn't look like a civilian ship. It doesn't look like anything. It's literally just looks like a fucking. At least from me, who grew up with Star Wars, to me it looks like just like a cargo thing, like a cargo ship,
yeah,
and it's just like gets shot out of the sky, and then that's it. You don't hear, and all you have is just this guy, this pilot. All you have to know about that ship is that it's just this one pilot that really wants to leave. He really wants to evacuate, and he just keeps interrupting like military communications and shit. And he wants to leave. He wants to get out of here. You know, Covenant are right outside. You know, the thing is, you don't even see the Covenant. That's one of the things that pisses me off is that you don't see him take off of what is being described as a crowded evacuation port with Covenant banging on the fucking door about to break through and attack the ship. And so we just see it, and so it takes off without permission, and then it gets blown out of the sky, but we don't see
yeah,
any of that. We don't see civilians. We don't see any civilians on, near, or around that site. We don't see Covenant. We don't see like a large amount of fighting in that area. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
all we're focused on right now is just like a bunch of fucking missile battery things, and that's it. Like
yeah. You're right.
it
And it's
doesn't
funny.
display anything. Sorry, continue.
No, I was gonna say, and it's funny because I mentioned we both talked about COD earlier. I remember back in the day when Reach first came out, there's always the back in the not doesn't happen nowadays because Halo doesn't really exist as a franchise anymore because it is ran into the ground. But back in that day when Reach came out, obviously there's a big rivalry between Reach or Halo in general and Call of Duty, especially because Call of Duty was making bigger waves at that time. But like, if people make fun of Call of Duty, and people still make fun of Call of Duty, but back in the day, I remember people made fun of Call of Duty for being this, ultra kind of stupid ass game, doesn't really matter, generic ass games or whatever. But it's funny how much better. Like, it's obvious that Halo Reach was trying to be Call of Duty, like in its Halo way. Like if you play Halo Reach, it's definitely trying to be like Call of Duty a little bit, like the campaigns, but trying to do it in its own little Halo way. It's not exactly like COD. But if you play the games, because again, people talk about how Halo's so much better, so much more narratively deep than COD is. But if you play those games, the first, the OG, Modern Warfare, COD 4, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, and also Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, you could see like they're just so much better than Halo Reach narratively and just mission. Like they're just better games overall. Like the campaigns are great. It's just funny because I remember people just shitting on those campaigns as like, just bullshit. And Halo Reach, Halo's Reach, even nowadays, those campaigns have much more love now than they used to back in the day. People actually, grew up when they came up. But it's people that still like Reach fans who shit on Call of Duty and they talk about how deep narratively Reach is compared to everything else at that time. And it's just funny because Call of Duty just wipes the fucking floor with Halo Reach, like those games do. Those games are amazing.
Yeah, they are. I absolutely love those games.
Uh, Yeah, But anyways, that's basically it. I don't have a lot more to say. Personally, I think we kind of sparsed out everything we wanted to talk about
I got one
tonight.
more thing. I got one more thing.
Okay, I'll let you
So,
speak.
again, I just wanted to go back to the Reach and the Noble Six real quick. So, one of the biggest things that, or at least, I'm trying to think of how I'd word this, because it kind of, okay, so this kind of lends credence to my idea that Noble Halo Reach is propaganda. Now, granted,
Get closer to your mic real quick.
it's kind of basically in the original the first three books.
You're really far away right now, Alpha.
That makes no sense though, because I'm right next to the mic is right against my mouth.
I don't know why, but there's something going on with your mic right now. Like it's not like it's just not you're sounding.
To cut this out.
Right now. Yeah, I know.
Hold on. All right, how about now?
That's way better.
That's weird.
Right.
I just muted and unmuted my mic.
Okay, yeah, it was weird. Anyways, could go on.
Okay, so basically, Halo in the first two books, we got Halo, we got the Fall of Reach, and we got First Strike. Now, obviously, at the end of the Fall of Reach, we see a majority of the Spartan 2s get wiped out, including Linda and James was apparently still alive somehow. So, yeah, we see Chief Board, and as far as we know, all these Spartans on Reach are dead. But then, at the beginning of First Strike, which is probably one of my favorite books in Halo, we actually see the Spartan 2s that John deployed down to Reach. We see a lot of them. They survived. You know what I mean? They're fine. I think there's at least. I think overall there's still 8, maybe even 10 Spartan 2s that survive the Battle of Reach. Yeah. And John actually, after Halo Combat Evolved, it actually goes back. He actually goes back to Reach, both to save the Spartans and also do some other shit. He goes back, he saves Spartans, he saves Dr. Halsey and shit like that. Now, and they go to this plant, they go to this region, they go to this mountain range, and this mountain is I forget the name of the mountain, but it's where Castle Base is. Castle Base is this big UNSC complex. I mean, that's just it. It's just this giant military complex that's built inside the mountain. Like it's their main headquarters, Castle Bases. That's where Halsey is, where a lot of Spartans were trained, shit like that. And we can actually see Castle Base in Halo Reach. We can see the mountain where Castle Base is. And
yeah.
So I guess I'm addressing all this to bring up one of my biggest issues with Noble Six. Is that the community, the fandom, they love to say that Noble Six's last stand or whatever. They say that it lasted for hours. You know what I mean? It lasted.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest misconceptions or whatever. It lasted for hours. The Noble Six was fighting for hours for. I don't know what else I could say. They say he was fighting for hours, maybe even days. You know.
Yeah.
But that's just not the case, because in that time, at that point, John would have actually already returned to Reach. We would have seen John and his crew go back to Reach in fly down to Reach in a Spirit dropship and rescue his team. So
yeah.
if that was the case, if Noble Six was actually still alive at that time, why did John not save him?
Yeah, it's just the general point of just like how if you think of Reach in, I know technically it's canon, but if you think of Reach like overall, if you look at all the overall Halo canon and just like in just the original trilogy in general and the whole whatever, you look at the Reach game itself, it just nothing makes any sense. It's very inconsistent. That's just how it is. It just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. It doesn't. When you start thinking about certain things that happen in the game and certain things that are supposed to happen at the same time and certain things that happen afterwards and before, it just doesn't make any sense at all. Yeah, it just doesn't make any significant. Nothing. I don't know. It just doesn't. That's all.
I apologize if I went on a little non-tangent rant. I was trying to gather my thoughts on this.
No, you're fine. Well, I'm not editing this anyway, so who gives a shit? But I'm not. It's a no edit video, right? I put a disclaimer in the beginning, so don't worry about it. But yeah, no. I mean, just generally, I don't have much else to say, but just generally speaking, Noble Six is just a blank slate character, and it makes no sense why he is, because he's canonically a character, but he's also you can make Noble Six your own character. You can give Noble Six your own armor and give him your own backstory and give him whatever, but he's no matter what, he's going to always be his own character. He's always going to be a dude. He always has a specific armor set he wears. He has, a specific backstory and what he does. So your choices of making it, your character it doesn't not matter at all. And again, it's just another thing about what's the point of that character and the general point of what's the point of Reach in general. Why does Reach exist as a story? I don't think it doesn't make any sense in the Halo canon. No one mentions the Noble Team after, like, there's no other mentions of the Noble Team anywhere else really in Halo. Like, overall, like in the games, I mean, like it's kind of just like no one gives a fuck about them. So, or Noble Six either. It's just like hilarious. You know what I mean? It's just insignificant to the entire overarching universe. My bad. But yeah, I got nothing else to really say. Do you have anything else? You think you're all good? Or we want to wrap up?
I mean, I just wanted to add that if John did come back and save Noble Six at the end of Halo Reach, that probably would have been fucking amazing. But that's just me. That's it.
What if John went back to Reach and killed Noble Six?
The good ending.
Well, what if they had sex? Anyways,
The better
smash or pass. So that's the end of this video. That's all I just want to say some stuff. But yeah, definitely go check out our other Reach video if you want to see kind of more. I mean, we talked about some of this kind of similar things, but also other points about general, our general disdain for Reach and just it's a good video to watch. Go watch that video. But yeah, thank you for tuning in to this video. I really appreciate it. Also, go watch our Halo Smash or Pass. It's not very long, but it's really funny. That's pretty good. And my Halo is Dead video as well, if you want to kind of see my opinion on the current state of the Halo universe. And go watch my Halo follower video if you want to see my hatred for Halo follower, because I really don't like him, and he doesn't like me, which is good. But yeah, that's the end of this video. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Echo Doing Things, for joining me again. Thanks for coming back to life. All right, I appreciate it.
Love to be alive.
You said, I love to be alive. No, you don't.
Yeah, very true.
I revived him, and he was like, "Why? Why'd you do this?
I want to go back." It was so peaceful.
It was so peaceful. So yeah. Anyways, yeah. Thanks for watching. Check out my other videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Go like this video. Share it with your friends and family. Share it with your Halo fans, fellow Halo fans. Get a discussion going. I love reading the comments. I really do. So even if they're hate comments, I love reading them. I love replying to your comments. So I want to know your opinions and what about us and about Halo and whatever, just about everything. Just share your opinion. Share your fucking your recipes too in the comments as well, because why not? Just share whatever you want. That's all. I love feedback. But yeah, thanks for watching. I am Reverse Synth. That's Echo Doing Things, and have a good rest of your day. Bye.